Welcome to another episode of Woman Witness Podcast, The Stories at the Well. This is a podcast where we bring to you voices of women who are out there making a positive difference and an impact in their communities, in their lives, and just really spreading the good news that you have to get out there and do something. You have to get out there and make a difference. Today, I have an amazing guest for you today. And if you need a little bit of motivation, sister, this episode is for you. But before I introduce my special guest today, I want to read to you a little bit about her. Today, I'm bringing to you Diane Davis. She is a successful author of children's books, a mentor for the youth, and a motivational speaker, and an innovative CEO and founder of Stay Motivated Youth Empowerment Studios. Through her children's books, workshops, coaching services, and mentorship programs, Diane provides young individuals with the necessary tools and skills for a brighter future. Her work has gained recognition on various platforms, such as The Sandra Show on AfroTV, Real Talk with Tanya White, Barnes Noble, bookstores worldwide, and many more. Diane's unique approach combines real life experiences, practical advice, and valuable insight. She believes in a personalized, client-centered strategy, understanding that each individual is different. Known for her positive attitude and inspiring energy and commitment to building a meaningful connections with her client, Diane is dedicated to empowering the next generation. Her ultimate goal is to create a future where young minds flourish and make positive contributions to their communities. Without further ado, I want to introduce to you the motivation queen, Diane Davis. Hey, Diane, welcome to the Well, girl.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm super grateful for this moment, and I'm ready to exchange some good energy and just spread the message.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Yes, good. Because, girl, that's what I have you on for. I have you on for some motivation. And I feel like far too often, especially nowadays, we need some motivation. And it's hard to even think or fathom the concept of, we need motivation to get from point A to point B, but we do. I mean, I start every day with coffee. For me, I feel like that's my motivation. But we're going to go a little bit deeper, and you're going to really give us a clear understanding about motivation, where it stems from. So let me dive right in and tell us a little bit about living a motivated life. Why should people strive for it?
I would say it's a lifestyle, and it's also a mindset. So once we embrace and embody gratitude, I feel like motivation just comes naturally. It's the desire or willingness to do something, right? So I feel like when it comes down to motivation, it's about shifting your perspective. When you have a more grateful mindset, I feel like motivation just comes at ease.
Yep. I like that. A grateful mindset. I promise you, last year I felt like I was on this journey of being grateful. And sometimes it's hard to, be great. I hate to say that, it really sounds bad, but sometimes you can always find difficulty, right? You can always find a reason not to be grateful. But being grateful, like you said, will set your mindset into having a positive attitude. Let me ask you tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you find and land and figure out that this is what we're doing here?
I want to follow up on what the statement that you just made, in regards to finding difficulty or just finding those challenges. But for every challenge, there's an opportunity to learn. For every problem, there's a solution.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to just shifting that mindset. It may seem like it's easier to find a problem or a difficulty, but it's also just as easy to find a solution or a positive outlet for whatever you may be facing. And that leads me to just my life and my journey. So my children's book, my first children's book, is The Motivation Queen. It was my inner child and just giving back, just reflecting really on my community and my upbringing, being raised in, I would say, in the neighborhoods, the more urban area. I realized as my evolved self, we lacked one thing. and that was positive influence. So I led by example by doing the work on myself, also healing myself, like as far as like inner childhood. We could get really deep on this conversation.
Let's go,
But
girl.
so it's just, it goes back to like everything starts from within.
Yeah.
So I had to really sit with myself and reflect and say, why are these things happening? Why do they keep happening? I reached a point in my life where I had enough. I was tired of my own mess. And I knew I wanted change. I wanted something different. So a lot of the times people can look outward when the real solution is looking inward.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
how my journey began. I reflected, I did the work, the inner work, because that's really where it starts from. It starts with you. So you can't be a broken person expecting for an outside individual to fulfill you. You have to fill your cup first. And once you
Yes.
fill your cup, you're going to attract that energy. The blessings are going to flow in. You have to get right within first.
Yeah.
That's the number one
100%.
thing. So
100%.
that's how we
Yes.
started motivation. And then from there, it's just like she was the superhero. And I do embody the motivation queen to myself. And when I'm on tour and I'm telling these children that you will face challenging times.
Yeah.
And those are all for you to learn. It's if we want to learn. You also have to have the willingness too within to want to learn. Sometimes you have to know when to be the teacher and you have to know when to be the student.
Eh, Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. Diane, yes to all of that. And we have to go back a little bit because I wrote children's
Sure.
book too. And I know the reason why I wrote my first children's book. And you hinted on it, but I want to go a little bit deeper. I wrote my first children's book because which is called Little Boy and Little Girl's Treasure Chest. And I wrote it to inspire children to protect their bodies and protect their personal space. And that it's okay to say no, and contact an adult if someone invades your space and makes you feel uncomfortable. So I need to know the background as to why you wrote this story, Motivation Queen. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you as a child to write it to teach to other children.
In my childhood, I changed schools often. That was one challenge for me. I didn't understand as a child why I was changing schools. And I also knew, again, I'm going to go back to the lack of positive influence as an adult at my
Mm,
evolved self. There was no positive influence in my upbringing. And that's just the reality of it.
yeah.
And we need to see more of it. And I felt like with also too, with the social media that we have, it plays like a big part
Mhm.
on a lot of the upcoming generations. Social media for me, I recently told one of my friends, I was like, it's like a reality show at this point.
It is.
Like you could pick which show you want.
Yep. Yep.
um
Probably half
you
of it
know
is not real.
yeah, so it's just like this generation that I have encountered from middle school going up to high school. They put their focus on likes, and if they don't have enough likes in this like fairy tale land, it's just like that is not reality.
That's not reality.
So we have to have people in the community to be that voice for our future leaders, to
Yeah.
let them know that, listen, you may come to a point in your life where you may have to change schools, for example, and that teaches and instills kids at a younger age to be open to change. If you stay where you're comfortable at, you will never grow.
No. Can't grow in a comfort zone. Although I would love for it to work, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
That literally walks through my childhood. So it teaches the kids how to embrace new beginnings,
Mm,
embrace making new friends, and
yeah.
also positive affirmation. Speak life into yourself.
Yeah.
You are beautiful. You
Yes.
are loved. I
Yep.
am making new friends. So it was like the little girl in me to be the voice for our youth.
I love that.
And
Okay.
she shows how Queen evolved. So she ended up turning into the motivation queen. So she's the inspirational superhero. She saves the day with words of affirmations. And she, like, her spidey senses know when to come when a child wants to give up when they're facing a challenging time. So
Mm,
she comes and reassures the kids with positive affirmations as she did and embodied herself in her childhood, you too can do this too. You too have the power within. So I think our children and our youth more specifically need to know that they do matter, their voice matters, and instill positive affirmations in yourself. Look
Yeah,
at the mirror, tell yourself you're beautiful because you are.
you are. Yes.
Yes.
And that's important, Diane. And number one, I will say this. I am so glad that I can only talk about myself, that I did not grow up in the society where you have so much access to people, right? And access to the social media. So for me,
Oh, yes.
I mean, right when we left school, if we didn't want to, talk to somebody, we didn't have to talk to you until we get back, right?
Right.
Well, it don't work like that no more. Now you got the trolling, you have the bullying, the cyberbullying, and all these different things that we didn't have to deal with. We had to worry about somebody getting a hold of our note that we passed to a boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you can deny
Right.
it and be like, that wasn't me. I ain't write check yes or no, but right, but these kids have so much more to deal with right now, and that's why I love what you're doing. And I watch a lot of your stuff. I don't want to get ahead of myself, where you're actually talking to some of these youth. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, because I want to talk to you about the turning point when you recognize the need for motivation in the communities. What actions did you take to boost your own motivation to get
What
started?
actions I took was to go inward. I
Yeah.
realized I was going outward, and how I went inward, I picked up books. I picked up self-help books. I always talk about this book very often, even when I was on the Sasanja show. Bell Hooks, All About Love. It just changes your perspective, right?
Yeah.
On what love really is. And like, she's
Mm.
such a wisdomful writer, and I'm so grateful that she was here to write the books that she did. Bell Hooks, All About Love, and I sat with myself. That book was kind of triggering for me.
Yeah. Mm.
So I realized I had a lot of unpacking to do and a lot of unlearning to do. So that was my turning point, where I had to really sit with myself, and I referred to books was my therapy. That was
Yeah.
my form of therapy, you know. So each individual may have their what works for them, and that's what worked for me. So that was
Yeah.
a turning point. And then as I'm reading that, and then I'm just connecting, I feel like everything just started aligning once I started to heal myself.
Yep. There you
Hmm.
go. I want other people to see what that looks like. And of course, starting to heal yourself is the number one goal, and that's the process. However, if you don't know that you're broken and you don't know that you need help, then that's a problem too. So identifying the fact that you need help. I didn't realize that I had an issue. I thought everything was fine. I knew I had my past trauma, and I felt like that I already put that underneath the rug. It's gone, right? But I didn't realize that some of these things were showing up in my life in different ways, right? Showing up in different areas in different ways, but they stemmed from that trauma that I had to deal with. So for me, what made me say, you know what, Leah, you have some work to do. And I believe that was like right before 2020, when everything started shutting down, and then when everything truly shut down and I had to sit with myself, and I was throwing everybody shade. You can get some shade, you can get some shade, everybody can get shade, because I literally thought everyone else had a problem. And I didn't realize that it was my own trauma that I had buried and I needed to unpack. So what was that moment for you that you said, hold on, I'm at a low. I need some motivation. I need to do something different.
Yeah, I feel like it was around 2022. 2020, the year 2020, not 2022,
Right?
2020.
2020. Yep.
I feel like 2020 was the opportunity for a lot of people, because you know what? The majority of, I can't speak for the entire United States, but I
Yeah.
would just say the American lifestyle, right? The American dream, right? As what
Yeah.
they would say is,
Yeah.
you're going to work, whether it's a 9 to 5, 5 to 11,
Yeah.
or you're going to work, you're at
Yep.
work more than you're one at in home,
Right.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really have time to like slow down and actually like smell the roses. Stop
No.
and smell the roses because you're
No.
always on the go. You always
Yep.
there's always something that really needs to be done. So we don't really sit with ourselves and realize, oh,
Yeah.
like that aha moment.
Uh-huh.
So it was in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I literally took the leap of faith in 2020. I was working for corporate America financial wealth management. And I
Mm.
feel like I was just like pushed out. And I started
Mm.
noticing a lot of different things within a corporate America too. I felt like God was like, girl, I sent you all these signs.
That part.
So now,
Yeah. Just sit down and slow down. I got
yes,
that. I got that message too. I ignored it.
yep. And I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be completely honest. That's the only way to be on this journey. People will gravitate. Who's aligned for you will gravitate towards you. And that
Amen.
includes
Yeah.
business too. That was a very big moment where I was just like, and it was, I will be completely honest too. I I did at that moment in the beginning, it just was like, wow, like really leaving corporate America. Like I was forced out. So at that time,
Mm.
now we're really forced to like there was really no opportunity. There was really not so much else you could do except for
Right.
sit with yourself in that household.
Yes.
Yes. So
Yes.
that was an opportunity, I feel like, for the mass, collectively speaking,
Yeah.
to either kind of go inward or to allow fear to
Yes.
invade their space. So
Yes.
fear is non existent to me. My friends are like, girl, I said, what is fear, Sky? An illusion.
And
An
illusion.
illusion.
Yeah, because I mean, you've mounted many of stages, and I can tell you, I've worked with children. I had done several programs with them, and I will tell you one thing: kids is honest,
Oh,
and
yes. Very.
and I think I would rather get in front of adults than children because children will tell you the truth, but children will teach you about yourself too, and they will help fine tune those areas that you may need a little bit of more work on, or you may really need to look at. So I love what you're doing. I want you to give us some examples on how to live a motivated life and positively impact the individuals around us.
I'll give some tips what I do. I go
Yes.
back to mindset always. I start my day off honestly just giving thanks for the new day, giving thanks to God for the new day. That's always me. So I just give thanks first. Second, in my room I actually have, and it's in a place where as soon as I wake up, I see it. I have a board where I have a list of short-term goals that I would like to
Oh,
accomplish. So I see it every day. So
really?
that reminds me every day.
Mm,
What did you do or what have you done that's bringing you closer to that goal
closer
that
to
you want
that
to?
goal. That's
And
good. Yeah.
yes, and those are small goals. The small goals is what builds the foundation.
Yeah. Yep.
That builds
100%.
the yeah. So those are top two tips.
Yeah.
It's important because if you don't set goals, then you don't have anywhere an end goal. I like to put this in perspective too. For example, soccer.
Yep.
Could you imagine kicking around the soccer ball and there's no goal?
There's no goal.
So there's no
Having fun. You're doing
productivity there.
drills.
What are you accomplishing?
Mm, mm, that's good. That's
So,
very good. I like that.
yes, so you need to have an end goal and you
Yeah.
have to start somewhere. If you don't ever start, you won't ever know.
I
And
like that.
we don't lose, we learn.
Yep. Yep.
Anything that is for us, person, place, or thing, business, or any potential opportunities, if it does not work, it wasn't supposed to work. And
What's
that's okay.
Yep.
And what did we learn from that? There may be a connection you have made, but it just know that if you don't start, you won't ever go anywhere. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't ever set any goals, you won't ever reach any goals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Set
Period.
some goals. Be thankful for everything. Everything.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So those are two tips. Very powerful.
Wait, listen, okay, and those are extremely good tips, and I love the analogy that you use as far as with the soccer, because if you think about it, I mean, man, I can go actually all day with this, because it's true. You need to know where you're going, and it's really good to know where you're at as well. Okay.
Absolutely.
So when you see the goal, you can at least say, okay, I'm halfway there, or I'm working on this skill. I'm working on my dribbling. I'm working on my passing. Can we talk about passing? Talk to me. I'm glad. Leads me right to my next question. How important is it to have the right people around you when you're trying to cultivate this positivity or this positive motivational mindset? How
It's
important is it to
it's
have some
very important,
teammates?
actually. It's very important, especially like me personally. I have my sisters, my tribe, like my very close base. But it's important because and it's important that you have good energy around you, because it's like mold, right?
Yeah.
You have one apple that starts to mold and they're very close together. What happens? It
Yep.
eventually it just
Yep.
transfers, and
Yep.
it's the same way in reality, in life, where it's important to have that. And me personally, if I do feel like if there are any fear mongering or anyone in my space that I feel like is draining my cup more than pouring into, because my cup is already full, honey, because
Yes.
I pour into myself daily.
Yes. Yes.
So you
Yes.
just remove them. Listen,
You
it's
just move
simple.
them.
Remove them. That's it.
Remove them.
Gracefully, though. Gracefully,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
And you have to give people grace, because
Yeah.
sometimes you really will come across individuals, they don't have that knowledge. They weren't provided that wisdom. So you have to give them grace, because we're all going to learn at the pace that we're supposed to learn. But if there is something, a person, or people around you that are doing more draining than adding, just remove it. It's very simple.
It's very simple. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so I want to talk about this a little bit deeper, because it's hard for some of us, and I know for any listeners who are listening. I know it's hard, especially when you are familiar with people, right? People, a job, habits, right? We're doing these certain behaviors, and it's easy, it's familiar. And sometimes it's darn hard to let go. Give me a little bit more, because some of us have a hard time letting go and a hard time changing. Give me some advice, Diane, on how to just cut the cord. How do I change? How to go cold turkey?
Discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline. Sometimes you have to do things that you don't really want to do, or some things that you're not really comfortable with doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we start the conversation? You don't grow in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have
Yeah.
to do things that maybe it's not something you really want to do, and you're not familiar with it. And just
Mhm.
not only with detaching, it's just like this is what you have to do for the better of yourself.
Mhm.
And you
Yeah.
have to say no without feeling guilty sometimes.
Yeah.
It's being selfless.
Yeah. Yeah.
So discipline, especially too, like in reality, we're not always going to be motivated.
Mhm.
You are going to have your challenging days.
Mhm.
It's the discipline that's going to take you to that next level. It's the
Yeah.
discipline that's going to, actually, for better terms, it's the discipline that's going to carry you to get to that next level.
Yeah.
It's really a mindset shift. And I find that I used to do this as well too. I used to make it more challenging for myself than what it really was.
And what it
And
really.
then once I saw how simple it was, I was like, aha. So that was another aha moment. So
Yeah.
discipline, it's very important, because we in our minds will make it seem more challenging than what it really is, and the reality is it's very simple. You just got
Yeah.
to shift that mindset, and you
Yeah.
just got to know the intention behind the reason also why
Mhm.
you're doing what you're doing. And that
Mhm.
goes back to having to remove mold from your space.
Mm. That is so true. Those are very good tips. And discipline, practice makes perfect. We can't just jump right in and expect to be able to cut everything off that is bad for us in our lives. And yes, it can be many different things. It can be people, habits, environments, jobs, careers. So I think that the it's really good advice. You got to start somewhere. I want you to talk to those people, and let me try to find a cute way to say this. I want you to talk to some of those people who are the fun suckers, who are the people who, and they know it. A lot of people are, they battle with depression, they battle with anxiety, and they know that they love being around you, Diane. If this is me, I like being around you because you bring the fun out of me. You make me try, but at some point I already know I might still get depressed. I might, battle with some of my internal things. So how can you help me to change my mindset?
That's a tough one. I'm going to be completely transparent because
Please, you have to be.
the individual has to want to do better. They
Yeah.
have to want to get out of depression. They have to want to do the work to be a better person, to be a better them. So
Yeah.
it's the willingness of the individual to want to do better. So whether that means you're going to therapy, you're getting help, or whatever, you're taking the necessary steps to be a better you.
Yeah.
So if the student is ready, the teacher will not appear. Once the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the reality, because
Yeah.
you can provide many different resources, different ideas, different things that you can do to elevate your mindset, or just to be, again, in a more grateful space.
Yeah.
And if they're not willing to want to be better or to do better, that's really a challenging thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a great response, Dan, because I believe it's important. And if you're listening to this and this might be you, or you might be in this place, and let me just be transparent and honest as well. I was in that place. I was at a place where I didn't want to be around people. I couldn't be around people because I knew that I was battling certain things in my own personal life. And I knew that, I would say to myself, fine, I'll just stay away. I'll stay to myself. And that is not the answer either. It wasn't until I decided to get help and start unpacking some of my mess, start writing and start journaling and start, digging my way out. So if this is you, like Diane said, reading books, listening to positive podcasts, listening at people, or reading books of someone who who can openly say, yeah, that was me too. You're not alone. And there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
thank you for that.
Absolutely. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And it's interesting you make that powerful statement, because in the end of the Motivation Queen, the girls were upset. The girls were outside playing jump rope. And in the end, the queen had to come because they were upset, like, oh no, it's going to rain. I'm not going to be able to play jump rope. I'm not going to be able to get better. I'm not going to be able to do the work. And the queen comes and reassures the children that after the rain, there's a rainbow and the sun.
Oh, love it.
So yes,
Love
there
it.
is light and that is the importance of
Yeah.
positive affirmation. Sometimes you have to really learn how to dance in the rain.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And hold on. Everyone listening, when is the last time you danced in the rain?
Oh, I dance in the rain. Let me see. When's the last time it rained? Hold on.
And okay, I'm being silly with it, but at the same time, I want us to just think about, if we take all the pressure off of off of adulting, and off of doing everything right, and checking every box. But when we let our hair down and just say, kind of what Diane, everything what you're talking about, this is the positive mindset. This is the positive motivation. Looking at the cup half full instead of half empty. This is what you're talking about. And it's getting me motivated. And I hope that anyone who is listening, who may just be kind of feeling like they're just gray day after gray day after gray day, same old, Monday. I want to tell you that no, dance in the rain. Next time
Dance
it
in the
starts
rain.
raining, get out and dance. Get your hair wet, get your clothes wet, be a child again.
Move the energy around too. Like movement is
Yeah.
very important too. Because sometimes like when we're so still and we're just in that moment, we just remain in that moment because we're not even doing anything. And something as little as moving around
Yeah.
can help shift that energy and help make you feel uplifted. But yes, I do love dancing in the rain. Now you made me think literally. I'm like,
I know.
when the last time I danced in the rain, honey?
Look now, and you know what? Hold on. Okay. Anyways, I won't belabor the point, but I mean, I think it's important, and I think we should do more of it, and maybe perhaps, like you said, it'll let in some of that energy.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you
Tell me
about your books. You wrote 2 books, right? Am I right or wrong? Motivation Queen and Hyper Kid.
Oh no, that is my partner. Oh my goodness, she's such an amazing. I actually referred her to. That's Ruth.
Oh,
She
Hyper Kids, so they
we
say.
work on workshops together. Yeah,
I
but I can tell you that my second book is coming out in June,
okay.
2024. Praise God.
Yeah.
The Motivation Queen. You
Yes.
are able, and she is.
Mm.
It's a series now.
I love it.
You
I
are
love
able.
it.
You are able. You are able. I want these kids to know you are able. You matter. You're loved. Yes, they are able. I'm so
I
excited. Yes.
love
So
it.
that's my second book. And yes,
Okay.
shout out to Ruth, Hyper Kids, so they say.
Yeah. So
Beautiful
hopefully we can.
soul.
I'm looking forward to talking to Ruth about that book. Because look, I'm sorry, I got some hyper kids. So
Oh yeah, she's the one.
so
She's the
they
go-to.
say. Okay. I want you to talk about your various workshops that you do. I want to dive in a little bit. I know that we're running a long time, so I don't want to take up too much time, but I want to talk about a couple more points.
Sure.
You do different workshops, and
Yes.
I enjoyed really listening to the different workshops that you've done. Listening because you guys check out her. We'll leave all the information in the description, and it's very, very positive impact that you're making in these children's lives. You did one, for instance, a self-discovery empowerment facilitators. So talk to us a little bit about some of these workshops that you're doing in the community.
Yes. So Ruth, speaking of, Ruth
Okay.
and I actually collaborated with the YMCA in Flatbush, Brooklyn.
Whoa.
And
Okay.
yes, we did. That was amazing. And she actually wrote a self-love journal, and I'm more on the
Mm.
empowering side. So it
Yeah.
just aligned. So what
Yeah.
we did was we shared the importance of self-love
Yeah.
through workshops, and we had our whole setup. It can vary depending on what the age group is, but we
Mm-hmm.
were with high school students.
Yeah.
So we shared with them the importance of just understanding the definition to like self-love. So
Yeah.
you have to go back to the root. So
Absolutely.
self-love, the importance of, again, positive affirmations. That's me right there,
Yes.
honey. Speak life. Speak life. But
Yes.
you have to believe it. Sometimes you
Yes.
have to believe before you could see. If you don't believe, how you going to ever see?
Yes.
So
Yes.
our so our workshops, our self-discovery workshops and empowerment workshops are specifically designed for introducing to various age groups. I would say from middle school up until high school, the importance of self-love
Yeah.
and the importance of empowering self and speaking those lively words into your life so they
Yeah.
can come into fruition. Yes.
Yes. I love it. I love it. And you said something that has absolutely nothing to do with this, but I think I want to highlight this for some of our listeners because a lot of women, such as even myself, and a lot of women who are listening, and a lot of women that I speak to, they're like, Leah, how do you get started? There's no way. And, I wrote 16 books, but I can
That's
tell you one.
amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. I think we need to have a
Uh,
conversation on the side.
see,
The power
and
of the community is very important, honey.
you Dan, you're taking my statement I was getting
Okay,
ready to
okay.
make. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But listen, that's what I'm talking about. Alignment,
Mm-hmm.
alignment in community and partnerships. That was going to be the statement I was going to make. And you said it. because you know the importance of it. And so any ladies who's out there listening right now and you want to write a book, I would be on Diane's page. I would be on these women's page because they did it before. And
Yes.
you want to be on stages and you want to go out and you want to speak to children and you want to make a positive impact in the lives of children who need it the most. I am pretty sure you can go find some of these women who are out there doing it and saying, how can I help you? How can I serve you? I felt like God gave me that mission this year, that I am leading with a servant heart, that it's not about Leah. It's not all about Leah. If I'm only doing something that benefits Leah, then I'm not doing enough. So I hear your partnership that you're working with Ruth, and y'all are tag teaming things and tag teaming projects, but I'm pretty sure there's space for other people. There's space for your books. There's
Absolutely.
space for, so if anyone's listening, that's my little rant on that. But I think partnership is powerful.
Very
Powerful, my
powerful.
sisters. Okay, sorry, I got excited. I get excited and I get passionate about stuff like that because I do think that I love what you're doing. I love what you and Ruth are doing. I love what you're doing in these schools. But now I want to talk to you. We're talking about partnership, because when you
Sure.
start a partnership in your own neighborhood, it opens the door to bigger opportunities. And I'm not going to say bigger. I'm going to say a broader platform for you to have a wider reach and be able to really, put a footprint across continents. So I want to talk to you about your experience visiting Nairobi, Kenya, and your involvement with the Amani Children's Foundation.
Yes, that was amazing. So I went to Kenya September of last year. I did a little bit of everything, but the main reason why I went to Kenya was to give back. Was to
Yeah.
give back, and the importance of children's literacy. Beautiful host, Bren, she connected us with the orphanage where I was able to have story time with the kids. Oh, they were so adorable. So adorable.
Ooh, seen the pictures.
Yes. Yes. Amazing. That warmed my heart. I was like, wow.
And they were all over you, so I can
Yes,
tell
they
that they
were. They were
don't
amazing.
you
They were just
dare start crying. Okay, so this is okay, sorry, let me calm down. When I see that, I see the genuine in the love and the care and the intentionality with you, because you do it not only in your community, but you can also do it outside of your community. And when you partnership, meaning I don't know how you found this partner, the founder of the Amani Children's Foundation, but I hope that you would share it with me so I can put it in the description for
absolutely.
anyone who is looking to touch some of these different organizations and get involved. I mean, who's to say that your path will lead you to Nairobi, Kenya, and you can, be able to partnership with these different organizations and these different foundations. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome. Yes, it was amazing. It was so
that,
beautiful to be there.
that was
Yes,
pretty cool.
I will definitely share that information. The power of the community, it's interesting. I recently had a call about a week ago for the power of the community and pretty
Mm,
much outlining the importance of it and just going
mm.
over those. That's another workshop that I facilitated as well. So, yes, I'm all for
Wow.
the community, all intentional connections and motivation.
Yeah.
All things motivation.
Yeah. Yes. Can I talk to you about something real quick? And then I want
Yes.
you to tell me about your books. You said something, and this is what really got me started on my journey. You were talking about believe. You have to believe, you have to believe, have to believe. And I think it's key. Everyone has to believe in something. Tell me why you were so passionate when you started talking about that.
I think there's like a saying that's like seeing is believing.
Yes.
And then I like kind of like switch the narrative. When did I do that? I'm not sure when, maybe a couple of years ago. And I
Yeah.
was like, no, Diane, it was like self with self. It's like you don't have to see it for you to believe it. You really have to believe it in order for you to see it.
Ooh, that's good. Diane.
Yes.
I can listen, I could take that and run with it right now, but wow. You know, I believe it's in Timothy, and don't quote if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But he said, "Blessed are you guys who were able to see, but blessed are those who believe and haven't seen." Gotta believe it. You have to believe it. And children have to believe, but you have to give them something to believe in. You have to talk to them. They have to hear it first. And that's what
Yes.
you're out there doing. You're making a positive impact in the community and with these children. And I see their faces. That's what matters. Who's to say that your affirmations and what they heard from you is the only positivity that they heard all week? We all have to do our parts. Diane, where can we find your books?
My books are themotivationqueen.com. Look, listen, we have The Motivation Queen. If you go on Google, they're on Barnes Noble, Walmart. If you just type in Google Diane Davis, The Motivation Queen, you will be able. Amazon.
And you'll also send it to me in the link. So anybody who is looking for it, if you have a child, if you need to hear it yourself, I would suggest getting it yourself. And if you know someone who can benefit from it, get it for them. Diane, I want you to leave us with some motivation, honey.
Motivation. Wake up every day with a grateful mindset. Set your goals. Be thankful. And keep an open mindset. Be willing to always learn. And most importantly, you have to believe it. You have to believe. You have to have the faith, baby. You gotta have the faith, and you're gonna see it. Stay true to yourself always. And thank you so much for having me.
Diane, thank you so much for coming and pouring at this well, bringing us some motivation. Ladies, if you were blessed by this podcast episode and you feel fuller, you feel motivated, we ask that you take this episode, you share it with a friend, share it with a family member, share it with a sister, share it with that one who may need to hear it because they may be that one that really needs to hear it. Share it with them. And we ask that you like, subscribe, follow Diane, stay motivated. She leaves you with motivational Mondays.
Yes.
She comes in with a blast of energy. Everybody needs to hear it, needs to see it. And I promise you, it's going to bless you. It's going to change your life. It's going to get you motivated, get your day, get your week started. If you think you have a story that you want to share and you think that you'll be a great guest here at this well, please feel free to email us at info@womanwitness.com. That's info@womanwitness.com. I will leave the information in the description. And we thank you for joining us for another episode of Woman Witness Podcast. Perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this to write, to tell your story, your truth. Until next time, bye.